Welcome back to In His Mind. I think I'm going to call this Get Away, I Don't Want to Be Hurt. All right. Okay, so let me turn this down here. So, I'm not even sure where to start at this point. I think all of us are frustrated and angry. You, me, and everyone else. The three people who I was in a conversation with for the past 3.5 hours is definitely proof of this. I do want to go in a little bit of this because of the title and the fact of what I realized. Most of us simply do not want to be hurt anymore. We just want to be left alone. We want to either check out in some way, shape, or form. Some people, they do so with pleasure, entertainment. Other people, it's going to be addictions. It's going to be like stuff that they cannot get out of their life that they love, like, or that they just are stuck to. It could be anything from porn and playing games, emotional games with other people, and then also sitting down in front of a console and a TV, watching TV, movies, playing games, stuff like that. There is that, yes. Now, for others, it's going to be a lot more painful, and it's going to be like, screw this, I'm done, and they check out, they self-delete, and then that's it. It depends on how far people have gone. Yeah, I feel like in many ways I've gotten help back to my feet by some of the most unlikely people imaginable. So I've been able to find my footing, to recover, to stop bleeding emotionally all over the place. And yet, in some ways, it almost seems like the other aspects, I've just become the very thing that I've hated. An asshole. I say it like that because I absolutely despise them. I usually bang heads with them whenever I come across them, and they usually avoid me because, I will put my face in theirs. I will get confrontational because, you know what? Fuck you. I don't care. Not with all, but with some. And generally, here's a side note where I've seen a couple people say it, like, it's really surprising how, like, this one guy acts a certain way until someone else puts his face up, and there's this like Pikachu face moment. Oh, I didn't know. So it's like you've got hard people resisting other hard people and giving them a hard time. It's just like people will just like wake up to reality, like, oh, you're not the only one. But here's the thing, and this is very true. This is not biblical, but this is very true. People who want to walk over you will walk over you, and you have to actually put up a wall, a barrier, and just say no. You have to protect your heart, you have to protect yourself, or else you're going to get hurt. You're going to be emotionally bleeding all over the place. Hello. Yeah, I don't want you in the car. Hang on. Shoot. Bugs in the car. I don't know how they get in here. There you go. It's gone. Ugh, gross. So, anyway. My first friend. He's the one I'm going to talk about the least because he's barely there. He's an old Army buddy. He's a great guy. He's talking about numbers, businesses, and stuff like investing, cryptocurrency, whatever. Don't need to go into specifics with any of this, him or the other two women who I'm going to talk about in a minute. He's a great guy. He's an old Army buddy. I think I was in headquarters platoon, and he was in like 2nd or 3rd platoon. I don't remember which. Great guy. We're similar in a lot of ways. We're both have our special abilities and talents, but I just kind of like hate numbers. I don't like them. They're like a necessary evil. Kind of like politics. A necessary evil, right? Yeah. Learning how to manage your finances is important. It's a part of this world. Like, you have to deal with it. And of course, even Jesus talked about this. Give to God what is God's, give to Caesar what is Caesar's. And that's like basically it when it comes down to money. Outside of, hey, test the Lord, and will he not bless you? Which is in scriptures. So give, this is different than the whole the thing that the other megachurch pastors do, where they talk about God damn, what's it called? I'm gonna remember later when I'm done with this. I know this, but their type of style of pastoring, preaching, talking about giving money and stuff, that the prosperity gospel. Thank you. So they're talking about the prosperity gospel, which is based a little bit on scripture, but it goes off on a completely different direction, abusing what is ever there. So giving money and seeing if God will bless you with the right heart, the right spirit, and all that, yes. The other thing that God talks about is, or rather Jesus talks about, is when God talked about it with sacrifices, bringing sacrifices before him on the altar. Yes, there's that too. But you should be doing that in the right way, the right mind, the right spirit, all of that. Jesus, the last part is when he used it talking about the woman who gave everything that she ever owned to the temple. She sacrificed everything out of love. She donated everything out of love. Yeah, so there is a place in our lives for finances. We need to become financially responsible. That is a must, especially if you ever are going to have a spouse and kids, a family. Even if it's not a family, yourself, because your health matters. And like many other people I regret not taking care of my health, because now that it's gone, I am suffering every single day for this reason, that reason, and I have to take this medication, and it's horrible. So finances, like your health, once it's gone, it's hard to recover. Take care of what is yours. Respect what is yours. This stuff matters. It should be taught more. To the church's credit, they don't abandon this topic. They actually talk about this somewhat well. So I can actually give them some props there. All right. So the other person here she's a sweetheart of an artist. We've been friends for years, and she's been harassed by other people. She's very, physically, not disabled, but very physically, her fortitude is very low. I'm not saying she's weak, but she has had, I want to say, a pacemaker since she was like 10 years old. So basically, there's a lot that could kill her. Being in a relationship could kill her, especially if sex is brought up. Yeah, that kind of blew my mind. I was like, oh wow, I kind of get it. She and I had a disagreement because I was trying to commission her for art, and I was like, you're an awesome artist, love you. Let's get something together here. And she put something forward which was completely opposite what I was asking for, and I was like, I was trying to say, I don't like it. This is not what I'm looking for. This piece doesn't fit. But it came out as, I don't like it, it's awful. Which I ended up apologizing for, because that was not what I was trying to say. And we're in the process of talking and all of that. But here's the problem. And this is something that I think is more common than I realized. I'll put this out here anyway. A lot of people have attachment issues. And one of the reasons why it's so hard with friendships and relationships is eventually you either will or you may, depending upon how far things and how deep things go, you'll hit that whole, I like you, I'm attracted to you. And it stems from what you see and what you like. There's a connection there that just keeps going if it is allowed. She, like the other woman, live in entirely different countries. And the only relationships I've ever had that worked were overseas. The longest they've ever been was overseas in a different country. And this is just sad in my opinion, because I have tried left and right. I've done the best I could. I worked on myself. I've done everything that I possibly could. And it's just, in the end, I just had to walk away, picking up the pieces, saving whatever's left, so I would never just get to the point where I am broken to the point I'm thinking of biting a bullet. Yeah, in 2015 I had plans to do that in the middle of service, in the middle of a sermon at this church that I used to go to back in Virginia. No one ever would deserve that, and yet I was struggling to the point where, like, I'm going down this road, I need help, and thankfully I got help despite the fact that no one cared. I think only one person ended up caring, and he was the one who ended up helping me afford it, because I could not pay for it myself. I made some poor choices from the time when I was in a relationship, thinking that she loved me when she was only using me for fucking sex. She used me. Yeah. Every time I think about it, I feel dirty. I feel like this is just awful. I was attracted to a woman who I liked, and she just used me for sex. And then she met my parents, was very upset that I had a good relationship with them, because, hey, I should be above your parents. And I was like, we had time working on this. And so she just basically left. I don't remember how she left. She just left. Yeah, being used for sex and money makes you feel real great. Thumbs up. Sarcasm. Anyway, that was a side part. So, yeah, the attraction, I like you, you like me, or whatever, that'll always pop up, and it's painful every time it does, because you need to safeguard yourself, your heart first, so you're not going to be breaking and bleeding all over the place. Biblically speaking, there's a lot that says, build a foundation, go the right way, you will be protected, you will be blessed, and there are scriptures to help keep you walking upright and away from traps, pitfalls. They use the word pitfalls because pitfalls encompasses both accidents and traps. Whereas back in the day, it was like, we're gonna dig a hole and cover it up, or maybe it's there naturally. You're gonna fall into it, and you're gonna be stuck. Very simple, very easy to understand, and it can happen naturally, like I said, or be placed by as if it were like a trap to snare someone, so that you are stuck there and that you need help to get out. And the sad reality is that relationships are kind of needed, because we're social and we're going to run around life, looking for friendships or relationships or both. And eventually, someone will pop up whether you like it or not. You're with the wrong person, and oops, there comes a kid. Or you just happen to give some decent advice, and someone emotionally latches onto you, and it's just like, what? Oh, crap, now I got to deal with this. Or it's going to be, all right, here's a chance to invest myself in this other person. Let's see where it goes. Let's do what we can. The last one is probably the worst, because so many people end up just simping for others and putting them on pedestals. Oh, you're the best thing since sliced bread. You were awesome. You were perfect. I'm madly in love with you. And then they put them on a pedestal. The problem with that, as other people put down that I didn't know for like most of my life, is when you put someone on a pedestal, they will look down on you, and it is extremely hard for them to respect you, because they're looking down on you. You respect others when you look up at them, not when you look down at them. There's a lot of entitlement issues. There's a lot of other emotional parts that come into play, like, yeah, I'm better than you. That too. So you've got all this stuff coming to play when you or someone else is put on a pedestal. And you know what? There's a lot of people just saying, all right, cool, I'll just use that. Though the interesting thing is that I've learned from my time when I was a kid, I had skills with manipulation, which I find interesting. You can set other people up for success along with yourself, or you can just simply set someone else up for success. It is harder, but it's definitely worth it in some ways. But most people are going to be like, fuck that, I'll just kind of put myself first, and I'm in this position. Why not? Yeah, why not? And so they'll just take advantage of it. And for some of these women, I've actually seen the whole, like, what do they call those? The money doms. There's a term for it for these women who are dominatrix, but they're specifically asked to spend this guy's finances. And so they become a form of like, it's like a money kind of relationship. I don't remember the exact name for it, but I found out about it not too long ago. I was like, yeah, I can get behind this. There's other people with like OnlyFans giving like hundreds, thousands of dollars to these women, and they're just basically given some name for to represent them giving money, and then that's it. And it's just sad, dude. This whole thing with money matters. Anyway, moving on. So the female artist is very attractive, and we've known each other for years, and well, things happen after the disagreement that neither of us expected, and that we ended up just dealing with. And lastly, keep in mind, all of this is happening at the same time. My army buddy, my artist friend, and the second friend who is fucked up in some serious ways. Sex is casual for her. Being naked is casual for her. But she has an intense fear of cameras. Like, she and I thought she was a troll at first. I am kidding you not. But we've developed a really good friendship over years. I think I've known her for just under 2 years. But we've developed this because we worked through this. Our issues, our differences, and all of that. She is very attractive in some very interesting ways. Again, some of the details I have to leave out. She was sexually used and abused by others, which does play into why she is this certain way, and it's not completely within her control. It's somewhere between like a defense mechanism and something else, which it's hard to place. Obviously, she could get help, but she's in multiple relationships. I'll just leave it there. She is emotionally unavailable as far as like, there's no relationship, but we can be friends, that sort of thing. And she cannot get over one of the people who left that relationship. She's very smart, and she's pointing out things that blew my mind time and time and time again, which I was like, we should actually just do a channel together and talk about this stuff, because I didn't even know this. Yes, this stuff is worth talking about. The star, okay, this one eye, this one star, I have a picture of it because she sent me to it. She sent me this picture, and I need to do a video on that and some other stuff. It's like, she knows stuff that just blew my mind. Like, it's just awesome. Now, the way she was, very sexual, very carefree, very flirty, up until she knew I was attached to her, like, I like you, let's have a relationship, or whatever. That's when things got cold and changed. But unlike most others, she didn't just simply like block me, move on. We ended up just talking and stuff. Yeah, so anyway, to wrap everything up so it's not taking like 3 years to get through all of this, and this is not just me spilling my heart out and all that. You hit these parts in your life and you're just emotionally bleeding all over the place. It's like, who do you turn to? What do you turn to? And the older you get, because I'm 37, the less you seem to have as far as like your safeguard, your sphere of safety, your support network. You have less and less and less and less. Like, you don't have the people you used to have when you were a kid. And it's heartbreaking. And in some ways, it's almost like you have to become the person you were afraid to become just to survive. I suspect God knew this, and that's why he implemented some things to help us out. And some people responded well and were able to change, be humbled, submit, basically let God into those areas of their life. When I say submission, I mean let God into those areas of their lives where it was previously inaccessible. Excuse me. And relinquishing, letting go. Either letting go and accepting, or letting go and giving up control. Maybe both. Like, there's a lot involved there. And Christians, especially pastors and preachers, do not talk about this. They do not talk about letting go. They talk about submission. What's the other word? Vulnerability. They talk about, what is that other word? I don't like it because it comes in a place from like, I will open up regardless of where I'm at, and you're exposing yourself to harm. You are not being safe with yourself. You're just like letting go, opening up in ways and in areas that are not safe. I understand opening up and letting God into the picture. And yes, that is needed. I'm more, what's the word? I am more careful of the environment and the method. So it's like, I don't have a problem with submission. I have a problem with whether or not you're doing it in the right way, in the right place, so that your safety is there. God doesn't hurt other people, but he does allow them to get hurt for different reasons. Obviously, the first one is, you messed up, this is a consequence. The second one would be, this is a lesson either for here and now or for later down in the future. 10 years, I mean, in my case, some things didn't make sense until like 10 years later, give or take. For others, it's a refining process, getting rid of some of the chafe, the imperfections, and translating that over from the Bible speak to this. It's eliminating some of the wrong, evil, sinful desires, like, I'm stuck on porn and all that. So there's a process to getting unstuck, and God will take you through that if you're trying to be better, trying to be more of who you want to be, who you are seeing yourself to be, who you believe God is calling you to be, etc., etc. And so he's taking you through this, trying to trim off the bad stuff, the stuff that isn't healthy, the stuff that'll kind of turn into baggage along the way. And it's nice to know that we're never really alone, but it is hard to reach out and ask for help, because it's like, who can we turn to for help, for advice, for thoughts? And then you turn to preachers and pastors who just throw you a whole bunch of like Bible verses and stuff, and it's just like, how in the hell is this helpful? How is this relevant to me? Can I just have someone to sit and listen, not just like throw Bible verses at me? So like, love them or hate them or whatever, they have their own way to meet needs. It just may not be the way that is best for you. Therapy and counseling can actually do a better job, because of like, this is what you brought to me, this is what I know, here's a different perspective, and I hope this is helpful to you. So you can walk away from counseling being like, thank you, I didn't know, this is helpful. You can find ways to apply this to yourself. You have more tools that you're leaving with than what you arrived with at, because you're going through life taking and putting things in your tool bag for yourself or others later down the road. Like, this stuff matters. But having a foundation, having tools, like, there are things that really help out, and then there are things that are very much needed. Of course, there's everything else that doesn't exactly have a good category to fit into. That will happen. Experience and all that really plays a big part in this. It affects men differently than women. I need to throw that in there, because it's like, a well-experienced man is valuable, and he's been tested. He has worth. Or rather, his worth has been acknowledged and has been found. It has been tested. But for women, it's like, a lot of it gets very sexual, and it's like, a well-experienced woman is not worth much because the intimacy is not there. she's been around the block with multiple guys, and she has how many kids? Question mark. Can she even emotionally bond or attach anymore? Is she like the notepad, the sticky pad, where the sticky part is completely worn off and she just can't stick to anything? The emotional availability of women in that case is like, it's harder. It's harder for women to bond and to stick to others. Men do not have that emotional capacity in order to do so to begin with. We are not socially engineered in that way. We are not born in that way for the most part. The funny thing is, you being around the block, you run into a whole bunch of other people, you learn certain things, you can understand how people are. It's not that men cannot be emotional, it's that we are hurt, we are in pain, shit happens, and we have to learn to protect ourselves and anyone else that's in our lives. So it's like we cannot be emotional most of the time. We have to be on guard. We have to protect ourselves and what we have and all of that. So it's like you have to learn how to get that armor and get that wall up for protection. Of course, people can turn that into like a prison where they are safe, quote unquote, all the time, but they're not living. They're not experiencing life. They're not able to enjoy life. They are stuck. They are trapped. Of course, then you have the other people that are completely like flip side, like I'm a guy, but you know, I'm completely emotional and I'm unstable and I'm all over the place, and a whole bunch of other array of issues left and right. It's unbelievable just how bad it's gone. I just happen to have a lot of experiences, the right foundations, the right support, all of this, where I'm like, I see this on this side, and on the other side, I see that. Men they should be this way because there's the best results, and not just because, you know, God and Jesus say this in the Bible. And there is a lot that supports what a healthy masculine man looks like in the Bible. Good, solid male role models and leadership. Plain and simple. King David, one of the top ones out there, but he's not the only one. Solomon, Moses, they all have their stories, they all have their flaws and strengths. And on the other side, you have women who care, who love, who are emotionally available, and you learn a lot about submission the right way, in a biblical and healthy way, in a way that God talks about. Everyone is accountable. People lie, deceive, and kid themselves when they're like, I'm at the top here. I'm not accountable to anyone. Here's my middle finger. Oh, and you know what? Just for that, you're getting unemployed. I'm going to sue you for $500,000. It's like they think they can do whatever they want. They may have the ability to do so for a limited time, which absolutely blows, because it's like you're going to be in fear of retribution or whatever. So it's like, should I do this? Should I do that? And for other people where they're like, you know what, I put God first, or I put myself first, they're standing strong on that, and they're just going to go down that because, you know, this is what I firmly believe in. You're not changing it. Screw you. Not the best way to put it, but hopefully you get what I'm saying. It's like right in the middle, there's a perfect mesh of inflexibility, adaptability, learning to put up your guard at the right times and not just living behind a wall. It's almost like you're a boxer on your feet. You're able to read the movements, able to dance, able to put up an offense and defense, and you're reading your opponents. You're reading the situation. You're reading the environment. You're like, yeah, this is how I respond. This is what I do. I feint over here. I go over there. I hit that weak point. I put them on the defensive. But instead of people, like an active opponent, it's like the situations you are dealing with critically in the perfect way possible. You know? Like, I love martial arts. I've studied that stuff. Absolutely love it, but there's almost no place to actually apply it and put it in there. But eventually I'm going to talk about a video later down the road about Taoism and Christianity and all of that, because I'm a Christian Taoist. I love it. I need it. I need the support, the stability, and I need to be able to come back to my center. Obviously that's Jesus, but I need to be able to come back and recover as quickly as I can. I obviously hate being hurt. I hate being weak. I hate not being able to handle whatever's in my path. Even if that means just avoiding it and going around it. Because as I've learned, when you're playing like Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne, Elden Ring, hey, you don't need to fight and kill everything that's in your path. You just like go around it. Like there's some things where it's just like, whatever. And you just leave. You just go. And in some cases, you get some really funny moments too, where it's like you're just walking away and the other person chasing you, and then they fall into a hole and die. And it's just like, oh, well, okay. I got some free XP there. Thumbs up. it's just funny how, you know, like what you can learn when you realize, oh, you don't need to meet everything in life head on. Anyway, 30 minutes long. Holy Jays. I hope this has been helpful to you, because this has been a very vicious night for me. Just way too much pain, way too much. Just, it needs to end. And when you get your sexual side activated, it's just like, holy jeez, it just got 5 times, 10 times harder. Because the emotion's feeling you and you're like, I can't think straight. My feelings are going haywire. It's just like, what the heck? And then, of course, people in church are like, oh, when it comes down to sexual stuff, stay away from this, stay away from that. Here's Bible verses, pray. And then it's just like, is there anything else? That's all we know. Like, I love them, but the advice that they give you isn't really that helpful. They just give you what has worked for them, what they know. It is a very tricky topic. I'll give them some credit there, because there's a lot, too much. That would probably take like an hour to like cover down all the basics, all the advanced stuff, all the tips, all the tricks, everything that is worked out. And I might have to do that one day. I might. I really might. Because you know what? It is worth it. A lot of people have covered this topic, and it's hard to make something that's like a one pit stop. Like, you go here, here's different categories, pick everything up that you need. It's always like we're forgetting something that we have to add in or talk about. Maybe for the best results, for the health of the channel, like, you shouldn't cover everything in one go, one take, one video. Not because you're trying to hook other people on, but just because there's a sheer amount of stuff there. All right. Until next time, I hope this has been helpful to you. Take care, and talk to you later.